Item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence. Have I received any for today? I take it that's a no. Okay. Thank you. Declarations of interest. To receive any declarations of interest. Thank you. Public participation. Do we have anybody from the public that wishes to ask any questions, Town Clerk? Ah, Michaela, would that be you?
I'm not sure whether it's in this part of the meeting or under any other business.
I'm not too sure. Are you public participation today?
I'd like to propose the pancake race being reinstalled.
Oh, right, yes.
So I can either speak on it now, or I can come to it whenever appropriate.
Why not speak on it now, Michaela?
Okay. So a few years ago, I can't remember when it was last held in Marketplace. The mayor organised it. I have got pictures of Stefan, so if we can work out when Stefan was mayor, and always used to take part, used to love doing it. One time it even snowed and wasn't sure whether it was going to still happen because it was a bit slippy, but it went ahead. So it hasn't been done for a few years. It often clashes with the half-term February holiday, but I've just looked up next Pancake Day is Tuesday the 1st of March next year, and the half-term is a week before that. So my proposal would be that you do it on Saturday the 5th of March, so that it's completely away from the holidays. And it was, I think, £5 to enter a team, and anyone was invited to, you know, put a team in. I think it was 4 or 5 in a team. Marketplace was obviously, and you know, there were prizes for the best race, but also prizes for dressing up and things.
Okay. Anyone got any questions at all? Anybody want to say anything on that?
Yeah, I'm going to enter it.
Well, actually, traditionally HRG have entered a team with crazy chair hats. The last time I remember it happening was actually the year after Stefan. It was Martin Akehurst was mayor, I think. That's certainly the last one I remember. It might not definitely be the last one. And that would have been, he was mayor in 2015, 2014, 2015. So it would have been February, March 2015 was probably the last we had. Certainly that I remember, but it was lots of fun. Everyone loves it, gets in the spirit. I think we also had people donating pancakes, not sounds crazy, but like Waitrose. I mean, they would donate the pre-made pancakes and things like that, and frying pans and whatnot. So great idea, all up for it.
Or we can just simply make them for nothing.
Jim, did you have your hands up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's a great idea as well. If you close off the marketplace, is there going to be any pushback for that? Because that seems to be a bone of contention.
Yeah. Helen.
Unmuted. Did you say the 5th of March?
Yeah, is that a market day?
No, it's not. But I know that we've got the House and Garden show booked in because I tried to book it for the seed swap. So I don't know whether it's going to be going ahead then or whether they've got a marquee or anything. I'm not sure what the plans are now because we don't deal with bookings at TNC. So
well, the only
we would have to look at the potential date.
Yeah. I mean, it could come to the Saturday of the end of half term, but you know, lots of people do go away then.
Okay. Can I suggest that we have a think about this? And I mean, I vaguely recall. I don't know why, but I thought it was Stefan, Councillor Gavashak. He's the last person I recall with the pancake race, doing the pancake race. But I don't remember seeing many people. I mean, is it a good uptake, Michaela? Is it?
It wasn't a huge uptake at the time, but I think things have changed. I think, you know, with other things that have happened now in the square over the last few years, I think there could be much more uptake. I think people, more, particularly after, you know, the year we've had, I think people want to join into the community and do things.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure, you know, Dave could rustle up a Gainsborough team.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'll come down in a Cavalier outfit so I can slice them afterwards.
Right, David.
We can just get all the pancakes made in the bakers, so there's no cost at all.
Yeah. Donna?
To come in late because I was having internet problems. I think it's a fantastic idea because I don't know if many of you people remember the pram race that we used to have in the town, and that was
I was going to say,
a substitute for it, and it brought everyone together, and people talk about it for years. And there was like pubs that would have teams and stuff, and it would be fantastic. And I really champion this. Well done, whoever comes back. Sorry.
I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, those pram races were brilliant, Donna, but those prams now are antiques and they're worth a blooming fortune. So,
silver cross pushchairs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody seems, you know, I was in two minds about the pancake race, but I think it's let's definitely have a little think. I'm all for it, Michaela. Everyone, let's have a think, work out a date. And work out how we can do it, whether it's going to need a road closure, you know.
Didn't have a road closure last time.
Did it? You know, I just
no.
Did they just race through the square? Was it from one end to the other and back again? So you know, I think that's absolutely doable and safe. And you know, if we can get help with the pancakes, I mean, all we need are the frying pans and
got those in the town hall already.
and some teams and prizes. And I think that'd be great. So absolutely, we'll definitely discuss that further, Michaela. And thanks a lot.
Okay, thanks.
I think. Do you need to turn your video off now, or can Michaela stay on? Or I'm not too sure. Town clock.
It's preferable for members of the public to turn off their camera and mute themselves, just so that members of the public know who's a member of the committee and who isn't. Yeah, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thanks a lot, Michaela. Okay, item 4, which is the minutes, and that's to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd, which are attached. Does anybody have anything they would like to say about that, or are we happy to
I'm happy to propose them. I think it's a true record.
Okay, right, all happy? Yeah. Okay, don't need to do the other. Item 5 is to consider amending the membership of this committee in May. I believe this is what we're doing in at the next town and community, isn't it, Helen? Are we or do we need to make the discussion now?
Perhaps Sheridan could give us some guidance on how we.
Because I know in our previous meeting it was discussed about membership, adding a person to the membership, and then I believe it does need to go to town and community. Town clerk, perhaps you could clarify.
Well, so there's nothing to prevent the subcommittee kind of discussing membership and who it may want as members. It's just that it has to be the parent committee who decide its terms of reference and its membership.
Okay. I was going to make a. We've had Frederick has not actually attended one meeting, and I don't know whether or not he wishes to remain on this committee, but but he hasn't attended any meeting, has he? He's not attended. No. Okay.
He may have come to one.
Okay then. Does anybody want to make any suggestions, any recommendations for members of the committee?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it before. I think that there's somebody in the town that is fantastic. If she doesn't know you in hospitality, you're probably not worth knowing. No, that's a joke. Obviously, everyone's worth knowing. But she's really a visionary, which I feel is what we need. She's a key person in the town, has quickly established herself, not just in the hospitality sector, but certainly in the local media as well. She's providing another local media outlet that is, well, it's just grown phenomenally over COVID, and it's actually my sort of go-to for like new things coming up at the moment, probably because of the social media side of it as well. And I just think in all the things that she excels in, they are the skill sets that we need more of, particularly on this committee. So I would like to recommend that person. I would like to recommend that we invite, because she may not want to, that we invite Philippa Ratcliffe from Experience Henley and the Eat Food Festival to join the committee, and that we recommend that to town and community.
Okay. Yep, I agree. Thank you very much, Councillor Hinton. Does anybody else want to propose anybody that they would like to be considered as part of the group, the membership of this committee, which is somebody that we will consider and vote on at the next town community meeting? Or are we all happy with? Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kelly. Item 6, the town council events. The first one, A, is the Henley Mayfair, which was originally planned for the first Monday, May the 3rd of this year. I even booked the Morris dancers, but I do not think, I can't see this going ahead. Councillor Everton, what are your thoughts on this as a fellow Mayfair?
Yeah, the Mayfair. We were only me and Kelly were talking about it the other day, how much fun it is, and I'm sure that we all need a lot of fun at the moment. And my thoughts, if we could go ahead with it, obviously it has to be and fit with all the criteria and government guidelines. I think that's a thing that we need, is a lot of fun and getting together and actually seeing people and talking about things and having a laugh. But whether we're gonna meet with government guidelines, because it's also not just that, it's whether the other people that we're gonna, from the stall point of view and all the other people, whether they're going to be available to do that sort of thing as well. So I would leave it up to Sheridan and Helen and Nikki if they to come back to see whether it's viable or not.
No, Helen.
Within the government guidance, we don't really feel that we can have an event in May. I think it's too early. The other potential was to postpone it and have a Mayfair at a different time of the year, but really outside events with numbers aren't permitted before the 21st of June. So it would fly in the face of the government guidance to have something in May.
I would, for the Mayfair, I personally, I think if we're going to run it, we want it to run at its best. We want people to be able to come along and be safe and feel safe and have a best time. It's a family day. I believe that we should absolutely postpone the event this year and just make it a great, fantastic event next year and put everything into it. And, by then, hopefully we'll be over this pandemic. People will be coming out and it'll be a celebration. I think this year we need to just get over this. Next year, that's when we can start having the parties, having the events in Henley and hopefully going back to some kind of normality. Dave?
Can we, if we're not going to have it this year, then can we actually put it out in writing, or with the Henley Standard and the Herald, that we are, because obviously the Mayfair hasn't been going for a long time, and sometimes when things haven't been going, people think that's it, it's gone. That we are going to bring it back, and it is going to be, due to the circumstances, and we want it to be everybody to have fun and enjoy and be safe. So if we can promote it in that way, say it is there and it is going to happen, bigger and better next year, I think then I'll go with that.
I think perhaps, Dave, we can have a word with Naomi and she could put something out on social media you know, one of her tweets, Instagram, and just explain to everyone, and then, you know, we can put it in the diary for next year, and it's something for people to look forward to.
Yeah.
So are we all happy for the event to be cancelled then? Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Thanks a lot. Okay, Olympic Heroes return 18th of September, which is potential date. Helen, do you want to speak on this?
I mean, at the current moment, we don't know whether the Tokyo Olympics are going to be happening. So obviously, that was the potential date for the return, which was the rescheduled date from last year. So we've just put it onto the diary because we need to keep it free should the Tokyo Olympics take place.
Okay.
So it's just for information, really, and so that we don't book anything else in on that day.
Okay. Are we still unsure about the Tokyo Olympics? I thought that was a definite. I thought that was definitely going ahead.
No.
No? Okay. Health and Wellbeing Festival. I think we'll all be coming along to this, Helen. This is
So just to update, this is something that we've done before in the town, and it's organised in conjunction with the Bell Surgery and the CCG there, and also a number of our alternative medicine therapies in the town, and it was really started to raise awareness of what was available. If we can't do something physically because of government guidance, then potentially we'll do some lockdown type virtual events with people. One of the really good things that the Henley Chelsea Festival did last year, as they did something virtually, was that they did Pilates for gardeners, which I thought was rather lovely. So things like that we could perhaps do virtually if we aren't allowed to do it. But we've made the booking, so it's in the diary, and obviously we'll update you as things become clear as we follow the roadmap and come out of this.
right. Okay, thanks. Okay, Henley Heroes again. We've Henley Heroes.
Yeah, so this is the awards ceremony run in conjunction with the Henley Standard, and we've put a potential date in for November, hoping that again, you know, we'll be following the roadmap coming out as we should be out of lockdown, and that we will still be able to have an event this year. So again, more on that nearer the time, but again, the date is in the diary.
Lovely. And of course, Remembrance Day, 14th of November. Let's hope that we can do this live and not streamed, but okay, lovely. Okay, number 7. Oh, sorry, Dave.
Yeah, could I don't know whether this could fit in with this or whether it has to be done on a different day. It's just what I think, and this is my personal opinion on it. On Remembrance Sunday, or one of those days, can we have a minute silence as a town council for all the people, especially for the people, I think 20, 25 people that lost their lives through COVID, incorporate that in our Remembrance Sunday, and give a thought for all the other countries and everybody else that's lost their lives for this virus.
Thanks, Dave. I think that's a lovely idea. I don't know why, but I prefer to do that separately than Remembrance. I don't know.
Yeah, we could.
I'm wondering if we could perhaps do something
Special day.
A special day for that, and because I prefer to leave Remembrance as it is, and then absolutely. But it's a lovely idea, Dave. Lovely, and I think we could perhaps perhaps work on something for that.
I think we need and come up with some sort of because obviously you've got a poppy for Remembrance, and I think this is going to go. This is down in history, and I think that we need to come up with some sort of, and hopefully all other councillors and all other councils and Parliament and everything else will eventually come up with a day of remembrance for the people that have lost their lives, because it's, you know, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people worldwide. It's not just this country. Come up with some sort of a flower design that people can buy, and then that money goes into a charity organisation. So to help the victims, the people that have suffered through this, because some of those people that have died that have left them in financial difficulty, and set something up, whether it be us or whether it be someone else. But I think it's very important to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Donna, I'll be with you in a minute, and you, Kelly. Lawrence, your hand was up.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, David, I agree with what you just said. I think that the Remembrance Sunday it's remembering those that died in the wars. So I think that incorporating people who have died during, from COVID might not be appropriate. But I was just thinking, if all being well, June the 21st, I think, is the final date of the relaxation of lockdown, then ultimately that would seem to be an appropriate date to signify and do something. But I'm sure, I would imagine the government will maybe come up with something. And the danger is, if we suddenly pick out a date and decide to do our own thing, then we'll be out of sync with everybody else. But, so maybe it's a case of staying tuned and seeing if there's any information from a higher level.
Yeah.
Just one quick one, Sarah. Is as a town council, for the people that that's why I've split it into two. As a town council, the people that died in Henley of COVID related is paying respects as a town council to those people that live in Henley. That is one option. The other option is with government, if government doesn't come up with something, and like you said, with that date, which would be a poignant date to go on. There's no reason why, if government does come up with something later on, but sometimes if you wait for someone else to come up, sometimes things don't happen. We could always change it, but it's just having it there as a structure to go ahead, whether we go ahead with it and join in with them, with government later on anyway.
Okay,
thank you
very much, Dave. Donna, and then I'll come to you, Kelly.
I was discussing, this is slightly what is to do with this COVID thing, and I was discussing with Glenn putting the Freeman's orchard back, and then I read about Captain Tom's Moore's daughter wanted people to plant trees, and I met with Kelly and Kyle and Helen Gaynor, and I'd come up with the idea of having a Captain Tom Memorial Community Orchard down back at Freeman's, so that it's to remember everyone that's lost someone in the past year or so from COVID, but it's not necessarily people that have lost people from COVID, because I've lost 2 members of my family that didn't have COVID, and it's been horrendous because you cannot have a wake, you cannot grieve properly, and it's for everyone that's lost someone. And it's a quiet area of Henley. There's going to be fruit trees, and it's going to be a lovely quiet place where people can go. And Kyle is
that would have to go through RNA. We can't just do that. It has to go through RNA.
It's a lovely idea, Donna.
Because it's been horrendous, because you can't grieve.
I think it's affected so many people, Donna. It's Kelly.
So basically a few things I wanted to say here. The first being that I don't sit here and wait for other people to do things. I'm not somebody that follows a trend. I want to be a trailblazer, and I feel like I'm not just going to sit around and wait for somebody else to come up with something. It's just not how we'd work. It's not what we do. So I'd rather create something, and then the rest of the country can follow if they like. Something that would be quite good, just touching on the point that many people haven't been able to attend these funerals and light a candle and all the other things you do when you're remembering. We put in a beacon. That's part of obviously a national network of beacons all over the country. And I think it would be really nice, maybe around taking Lawrence's suggestion, because I think Lawrence was right on that point on remembrance, and have a civic event, a beacon lighting. And if we could get the rest of the country to do a beacon lighting at the same time, I don't see why we need to wait to be told to do that. Actually, let's tell everyone else this is what we're doing. And if you want to do the same, let's all join in. I also know that there are as Donna said, there's that idea about the orchard. There's also an idea about a bench, and there's also an idea about flower beds and things, to thank the key workers and the NHS, because there's two sides of this. There is the sadness and the loss and the grief. And when I checked the latest figures on Monday, there were 21 people that had died from COVID in the North Ward, and there were 8 people that had died from COVID in the South Ward. So that's nearly 30 people in Henley, and we are a small town. We're a village that's sort of a town, if you like. We're a town with that village feel. So when you lose 30 of your own, you do feel it. But it's not just been about the people that have died from COVID. There have been people that have died from other circumstances and illnesses because of COVID. People haven't been able to say goodbye. And I think an evening ceremony lighting the beacon, which is like a giant candle in a way, and sending those people off in a respectful, peaceful way as a civic event, is in a way a duty. So I would be all for that. I'm happy to put my time, donate my time in trying to organise that as well.
Lovely, thank you very much, Kelly. Dave, and then I think
I'll support that. The last 2 events we've had to do with the beacon, I've lit it, so I'm up for doing the lighting of the beacon up on Makings, and there's loads of room and loads of parking for that to happen. So I'm quite happy to work alongside Kelly into making that happen.
Okay, super. Okay, then let's discuss that later and put something in action for that, because I think it's a really good idea. Okay, should we move on to item 7? I can't believe we're talking about Christmas already, but here we go again. So Christmas in Henley 2020, to consider the feedback from the virtual Christmas events held in Henley. What was the feedback? Was it?
So we had quite a bit of positive feedback. We had lots of entries in the little elf competition.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we were trying to drive footfall to the retailers and trying to promote the retailers in the local area to the residents. Plus we were trying to promote shop local. You know, just been a terrible time with COVID for retail in general. And what we were trying to do was obviously guide people to shop with our retailers rather than going anywhere else. So all the feedback that we had was positive. You know, it was just whether, you know, anybody had anything else. We usually have a meeting as a wash up, but other than and do that.
I think considering, David.
Yeah, I think as a retailer, the digital calendar it certainly actually worked quite well for us. I was a little bit sceptical, but the reality was it was actually one of our best trading days that we had. So a lot of the small things that, I mean, there was very little we could do. So bringing things online and doing digitally actually did work for us. I don't know if Lawrence had a similar experience when he had his calendar day. But yeah, I think I'd like to say thanks to Helen for organising that. And it'd be great to get things back to normal next year and have our late night shopping if we can, because nothing really replaces that. But I think we made the best of what we had this year. And certainly we saw, it was very low footfall throughout December, but our busiest football day was our calendar day.
Yeah, thanks, David. Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, it was very difficult circumstances, and I think, all credit to the town council, to Helen for doing as much as I think you could possibly do. I think the shop local worked very well. People weren't going into towns, they weren't traveling, and they really did go out of their way to support the local shops in that small period of time in December when we could open. We were very fortunate in Henley that we could stay open until Christmas, whereas the surrounding area all closed the week before. So again, that helps us as a town. I think the late night shopping, with all the best intentions, and whilst we can all say yes, we did a little bit of sales some evenings, unfortunately wasn't the success I think that ultimately everyone might have expected. I had customers saying that they expected more shops to be open and they couldn't understand why they weren't. And you explain it and they still don't understand. But that was done because we didn't have the festival night. As David said, bring back the festival night. And I think this year, all being well, it will be huge. And the town has a fantastic opportunity to really make it special, light up the town, bring people in, and make Christmas as we remember it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lawrence. Kelly, and then I'll come to you, Dave.
Yeah, that's really positive to hear about the calendar day, actually, because Helen did do a lot of work on that. But of course, it was Philippa Ratcliffe's idea, and this is exactly what I meant about needing a sort of visionary to have these kind of projects on our agenda. So I just wanted to give a little bit of credit there that this was a proposal from Philippa as well, and obviously I'm sure she'll be delighted to hear that there was such success for David and other retailers.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kelly. Dave.
So obviously Santa wasn't about last year so much. Apparently there was a clause in the contract, but
oh no.
Is Richard Rodway going to do the Advent this year? Do you know? Is that going to be brought back? Because I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, so it was just us.
I think we can discuss that in any other business. Should we just go through the festival and then we'll get to that? Okay, so for Christmas festival, we have got a date for Friday, the 26th of November. And I mean, I'm hoping, Helen, that it's going to be all systems go this year. And as Lawrence said, you know, let's make this bigger and better. But are we going to have to adopt some kind of safety? I mean, do you think we are going to have to reduce the amount of stalls in order to?
Yeah. So at this point, we just don't know. You know, there are worries that because actually normal flu last year wasn't as prevalent as it normally is, that might make a big comeback this year. So it's just a wait and see. I mean, I think it's really just to agree the date, and the detail will have to follow. You know, we wanted to make sure that we've got it on the radar, and that we really, you know, as Lawrence quite rightly says, you know, it should be a fabulous event. We will organise what we can within, and you know, as we tried to do last year, what we could within the guidance that we're given, so that the town can thrive, and you know, we can bring safe footfall in for the retailers and the hospitality.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really enjoy. I think even if we can't have the actual festival, which I'm sure we will be able to, I think it's so important to have the lighting in Henley. You know, in the marketplace, it's just lighting it up, so it, you know, looks Christmassy. I really enjoyed the lighting we had in the marketplace this last year. You know, bigger. You know, I just thought it was lovely. Anybody else want to? We're all happy to note the 26th of November for the festival, which is the Friday. Anybody got any concerns about this? Anyone want to mention anything about this, or are we happy to move on? Dave?
Oh, I just think whatever the whether it's limited or I think we still have to wear. You know, we still I think for the rest of this year and probably beginning of next year, I'll still be wearing face masks and using sanitizer. I don't think it's just going to disappear because they've said, oh, that's it, and the things are dropping. I think people are still going to be cautious in a lot of ways, but I think that we will slowly get back to normal. After all, we've had a year of you know, wearing face masks and keeping social distance, and once you get into a habit, sometimes it's very hard to change. So what we do, we need to make it special and different to bring people back in, and in, you know, and try to I can't wait to shake someone's hand, you know, in that sort of aspect of it, because that is what we do, you know, when we're greeting people and all that sort of stuff.
No, I agree. I think, yes, David.
No, I agree with David. I think it's good to plan for something, because we have to plan, but life has to go on. But I would be surprised if it goes ahead in the same capacity as it has last time. You know, I mean, the last couple of years, there's a lot of people in a small space. So what I'd love to do is to actually plan just to make it over a bigger space, whether you can incorporate some of the car parks or just go into Friday Street and, you know, further down Bell Street. Because I think you have to plan for that sort of social distancing and having people aware that, you know, it hasn't disappeared. So if we are going to plan something, I'd like to try and plan to make it just a similar volume, but over a bigger space.
Kelly, and then I'll come to you, Lawrence.
I just wanted to highlight, it doesn't matter what we do every year, so we're going to need to really be on it this year. It is always a bottleneck outside Machin's, that little area of that road. I think we need to keep opposite Machin's completely clear, because if there's absolutely anything there at the bottom end of Marketplace, it's just like everyone wants to be at that spot or something, even though it's moving. I've just never seen a year where that hasn't bottlenecked. I just can't ever remember a year where it hasn't bottlenecked.
No.
We did try a solution one year, but that wasn't very good for Machin's, so it didn't end up happening. So I think as Machin's can't move, we need to move what's been around there previously.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Kelly. Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, yes, we've got to wait and see what happens over the next 6, 8, 10 months. Ultimately, I think that if restrictions are not lifted completely, then it's not going to be a festival that can go ahead. You can't limit the townspeople coming in to, as Kelly said, a bottleneck at the marketplace. Trying to spread it out into other areas, it's been tried before. People don't go there. It's either going to be everybody, or in my opinion, it's nobody. It will be a nightmare trying to police people coming in for what is a Christmas festival and saying, no, we've reached our limit, you can't come in. But I think we've just got to monitor it, see how things are in the summer. We've got the Henley Festival going ahead. We've hopefully got the regatta going ahead. These will all be telltale signs. And in September, if stadiums are going to be full, if nightclubs are going to be open, that should be a sign for what we can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Lawrence. Jim.
Yeah, I slightly disagree with what Lawrence is saying there. I think we need to keep an eye on things, put a date in the diary, keep an eye on things, and we have to adapt. Like we did this year, we did something. You've got to try and do something. You can't just give up and do nothing, because the retailers need it. You need to have some sort of event. You need to do something within a safe environment. What that is, I don't know. We'd have to look at what the restrictions are, but we can't just give up and do nothing.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Jim. Okay, thank you very much on that. Okay, item C, which is the small Christmas trees, to discuss the cost of the Christmas trees scheme for this year. Helen.
So this, I think we will need to defer to a future meeting, but we wanted to put it out there because we usually do have to decide on the costs for the budget. We've got the festival lighting scheme, which is number 9 on the agenda. Currently, we have Christmas lights, bunting, and the small Christmas trees all done by the same firm. So until we've decided what we're doing and who we're going to allocate the new festive lighting scheme to, as in which firm, obviously we can't get costs for small Christmas trees.
No.
And it could be that we wrap all 3 things together, but not all of the companies would be able to provide all those services to us. So it's just to highlight, we do need to approve the cost. And I know Lawrence had some strong views on this last year, but in terms of the budget that we don't have the budget to put trees in. I do, however, have a very kind offer from an individual who is willing to pay for 20 trees if they're on or around the cost that they are this year, to put more trees in the high street outside of the charity shops.
Really?
We only have 8. We don't have 20 charity shops.
But we can put the other trees in other places.
Yeah. What was the uptake, by the way, Helen, for the trees?
This year it was lower. I think we had around 88 trees, and normally we have more.
Yeah. It's so sad. Okay.
I'll just check the budget and see if I can see it for you. The exact number. Somewhere on my laptop. Hold on.
Don't worry too much, Helen. I thought it would be lower. So
yeah, it was lower.
Okay, so then. So should we move on to any other business? And Dave, I mean, I've not heard anything about the Advent calendar. I don't know if Helen's heard anything.
I haven't yet, but we can have that conversation with Richard.
I think that will be waiting to see what happens, what the government say on that. It's a bit of a waiting game at the moment.
I think it's all based on because we don't know what's going on at the moment, and until these other events, it's basically as things come on, and other events unravel themselves, and because if the regatta's going ahead, that's thousands and thousands of people, and obviously if that's going ahead, then obviously the other events could go ahead, because we need to have some sort of give some sort of outlook to people, positive looking forward of what's going to go on for this year, because everything is sort of like doom and gloom, and you need some sort of light at the end of the tunnel. So whether these things get put in, but it's all open. We could be talking completely different in a few months' time, where restrictions are lifted and all that sort of stuff. But first and foremost, whether restrictions are lifted or not completely, and we sort of get reasonably back to normal, we still have to sort of wear face masks, wash our hands, and still keep safe, and still do that for probably the rest of the year, and if not beginning of next year, until we've finally, because I think this virus is going to be around. Obviously, the vaccine is going to protect quite a few people, but the virus isn't just going to disappear and just fade into the background. It's still going to be here, and no doubt mutate into a different form at some point. But it's like the flu virus, that's there year after year after year. Hopefully this coronavirus is by the time it sort of phases its way out towards the end of the year, we don't see it coming back very well. Hopefully it never comes back, but
thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Donna.
Oh, hi. I did send an email. I'm sorry to come on this, but there was this gentleman on Twitter that sent me some tweets and everything, and his name is Daniel Williams, and he's also known as a Charles I impersonator, which Dave would rather like. And I proposed that maybe next year, not this year, because I think of restrictions, that there could be some sort of heritage festival in the town, and he could come and do something, and Dave could even dress up as his normal attire with his cavalier outfit or something, and we could get heritage writers, maybe authors that could come to the town, and even Al Spencer, I think he did a book on some relation of his.
I haven't seen Charles I since 1736.
But he did go to the Red Lion. There was an article on him in the
I
Henley
know.
Standard.
I got that email. I think that's certainly something we can discuss later. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
But
that's great.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dave. Helen.
Yes, there is a Heritage Day which I sent round to. It's a Heritage Week, which is this year in August, and I think this year perhaps maybe we should plan for next year, for 2022, because it is a really good. I mean, we are a heritage town. We have a lot of history, and we should pull that together, and we should get all our ducks in a row regarding our history and use that to promote for tourism as well. So it would be a good thing to do, and then involve everybody that we can, and all of our historians as well.
Okay, thanks. I'll come to you in 1 minute, David. It's just something I was going to ask under AOB. What's happened to Dusty Day? Does Dusty Day still happen? Do you remember, Dusty Day, when all the drag queens
really
come into
dusty or
Henley,
something?
dress up as Dusty Springfield? We have Son of a Preacher Man playing.
I do incorporate Dusty in my tours when I'm talking about people that live in Henley, like George Harrison and Dusty Springfield, and where they're, we
had a few years of Dusty Day, and it was fabulous. We had drag acts in a couple of the pubs in Henley. We had some amazing musicians just celebrating the one and only Dusty. And I've got a feeling it was in April, but I'm just wondering, it suddenly died a death. And I'm just wondering if
Kelly wants to dress up.
An awful lot of people into the town.
I
know many of my friends from London came down just to get an address and sing Son of a Preacher Man. So
Kelly wants to join in. I think Kelly wants to dress up.
Absolutely. Until I wondered what you were going on about, Dusty Day, until you said Springfield, and then it all made sense. I love this. The Son of a Preacher Man. I'll be on the karaoke machine, so maybe people might want to stay away from Henley, actually, thinking about it. But no, great idea to celebrate people like Dusty. I just had no idea what you've on about. I've never heard of this, but it sounds fantastic, and it actually sounds in line with something that we should have been doing a long time ago, which is a Henley Pride.
Yeah, I mean, that would be good, but I just don't think we'd get well, I don't know. But let's discuss Dusty Day. I can't remember who organised it, but it really was a good fun. It was one day a year, and it's just different. It's different, and it's fun, and I'll look into that and perhaps bring it back to the next the meeting.
But the other thing, just quickly, when you're talking about Heritage Day, Jim wants to dress as a Roundhead.
He does?
Jim.
Does he? Okay then.
Dave wants me to dress up for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay. Lawrence.
Yeah, on AOB. I actually thought you were talking about Dusty Bin Day, and it was something to do with cleaning the town. But right, on AOB, what I was going to say was, although we don't know for definite yet about the regatta, if, as we probably all hope, it is going to be in Henley and it will be sometime in August, is there going to be something done with regard to attracting people in the direction of the town from the station? Now, year before last, I had spoken about having one of these inflatable arches over the station road approach, that you could have advertising, you've got to have arrows, really make it like a big entrance. Now, I'm not saying that is probably feasible or appropriate this year. Maybe that's for next year. But we do need some sort of major signage as people come out of the station to give the direction of the town, hospitality, bars, shops, as opposed to turning right for there's the river.
No, absolutely. We are actually in meetings about signage right now. But Helen, did you want to quickly say something?
I'll
come to you, Donna.
We will always run a campaign during regatta, whenever it is, to attract people to come into the town, because, as you say quite rightly, people don't come into the town, they don't necessarily know it's there. We are, as Sarah said, looking at the signage at the station anyway to signify that there is a town as well as a river in Henley, and it's obviously full of shops. So yes, we will do a campaign, definitely, and we are trying to improve the signage around the town anyway to ensure that people know more about it. But we would include, and it would be more of a retailer kind of led meeting, ideas, etc., and obviously get your buy-in, because the more people that we've got, social mediaing, etc., then the greater the audience that we're reaching.
Thanks, Helen. Donna.
Right, I'm just have a little bit of concerns, as we don't have the exact date of the regatta. There is that other festival in Hambledon, which is the Legends Festival, apparently it's a 2-day, is it a 2-day event in Hambledon where the Henley Showground is? And I'm just concerned that it may clash with the regatta, and there's also no camping there. So I'm just worried we're going to have 2 days of traffic gridlock with that on top of the regatta. If they have they collaborated with the thing, and because we don't want the town completely gridlocked if we got the regatta and then we got this festival coming on, people commuting. Yeah.
As long as they shop in the town, it's all right. But I did know, is Legends 2 days? Is it 2 days, Legends? I don't know if it's going to clash with. I don't know, Jim. Do you know the dates? Whether
I'm just looking at it. It's 7th and 8th of August.
And that's
and the regatta's the 10th of August, so they don't clash.
So they don't clash. So that's okay.
And I'm sorry. And my concern is, as an animal owner, about the festivals and their fireworks. I'm not poo-pooing. It's very loud, very distressing for animals. And if they can they not incorporate drones or something? Because it is so distressing for animals. And as a pet owner, and I get quite stressed with the fireworks. I'm not the keenest person on fireworks as well. And I think there's people with special needs that don't like the fireworks because they find them quite frightening. And I think in this day and age, it's an awful lot of money to be spending on something, and they should move with the times and either look at lasers or drones.
Thank you, Donna. Jim?
Yeah, I looked into that issue there, Donna, quite closely. Drones are hugely cost prohibitive. They cost fortunes. But I do agree with you to an extent, because I'm an animal lover. I have dogs that particularly gets really frightened with fireworks. But I was wondering, there are silent or low noise fireworks, and that's maybe a sort of compromise that maybe we could somehow put forward. I'm not sure how that would work, but they are out there, and they don't cost considerably more.
I think if all else fails, whether or not we can contact the organizer of the festivals and just let them find out the dates on, or what, if they are going to hold a fireworks, if Legends are, and when, just so that dog owners, I've got a dog, and whether we can be prepared. It's not just dogs, it's people with horses that are around there, and I mean it's awful.
Well, I did contact the people at the Hambledon Showground when they had that firework display and everything, and I think they weren't really keen on having that firework festival back because it was just so loud. My poor dogs were so hysterical and shaking and trembling, and it's just awful, and it's just unnecessary to have them that loud. We're living in
it's very difficult because fireworks have been going on, and people argue that it's one night or 2 nights, but it is so distressing for animals, and I don't know. I mean, if much prefer lasers or something else, but something with some Jean-Michel Jarre music in the background, as they do in London. But Lawrence,
if we can have a campaign to try and get HGVs out of Henley, why doesn't someone run a campaign to ban fireworks in the Henley area?
This ban the bangs. There was a lady from Wargrave. I'd be happy to help with that because I just can't stand them now. The stress, it's just too much. And lasers is the way forward.
Well, Donna, let's do something. Let's get some people together and put something out there.
Yep.
Right, I'm aware of the time, guys. So let's speak about that. But I think that's a good idea, Lawrence. I think it's a very good idea. Let's, move forward. Okay, item 9, which is the festive lighting scheme. We've covered that, haven't we, Helen, on the item before?
We have to write the brief, which has to be put out to tender.
Okay.
So it was really to get some thoughts of people. Obviously, I know quite a lot of people commented on the stars that we have, and loved the slightly different, and we had a 5-year contract which is coming to an end, so we need to repitch for it. We did have had difficulty locating the original brief which was written, because it was before I started, so we need to put together a brief which obviously needs to be agreed. But it was really to get some feedback from the committee, because this was actually the events and I think it started as the lights committee and then turned into the lights and Christmas committee, and now is the events committee. So it was really, you know, if there was any feedback from the group about anything you particularly liked. I can't imagine that the budget's going to be any bigger than it is now. So it's in lighting terms very low, which is obviously why we have the cross street lighting, which stays up, and then we sort of work around that. So, but whether we could maybe enhance what we have, keep what we've got, but add some extra things to it, because that's been paid for. But then there's the higher fee, and then there's the putting up and taking down fee.
I love the light. I mean, I wish we had the budget to take the lights down further along Reading Road and perhaps down Station Road. You know, they kind of stop abruptly. And it would just be nice to have the lights, you know, circling the town, if it, you know, budget permitting, because just lights just make it, you know, magical. And you know, and it yeah, absolutely. Kelly.
I don't really have a preference. I don't like the big, garish, multicolored, horrible things. So I wouldn't want to see any of that personally, but you know, it's not down just to me. But one thing that I do get, not a personal preference at all, because I actually thought the blue lights were stunning, and it reminded me of when I lived in Tokyo. It was just really beautiful and classy. But I do get quite a few people moan at me about blue lights. Don't like blue lights for some reason. So maybe to keep in mind.
Okay.
People like blue lights, especially if they're behind you.
Okay, Donna.
Those snowflakes, I absolutely love them. I thought they were hanging off the trees in the marketplace. Actually, down Station Park, Station. If we
can't hear you very well, Donna, I'm afraid.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah.
Right, the snowflakes.
Yeah, got that bit. Yeah, you like those, yeah.
They do them at Tesco's now, next to the cornflakes.
Like even we could have them a couple of, and nice.
I think we might call the meeting to an end now. Donna, you've gone dead. Sorry, can't hear you at all. So, has anyone else has got any other ideas about lighting? Or, I mean, you know, I think what we had was great, and I think personally, the more the better. But as Kelly said, yeah, I'm not into sort of primary coloured, you know, flashing lights or whatever. Just something pleasant and okay. That's it. Unless anyone wants to say anything else. The date of the next meeting, I think we can just ping over an email and with a date or some dates. But thank you very much for coming along today. It's really interesting to hear your thoughts, your input. Have a lovely weekend. And I think that's it. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks all.